Snowball has found a brand new place to read from, and a very strange book. Withershins by Vaquit Tawashi. Vaquit Tawashi. All right, said Kazaga. Klingon much? Why don't you want to talk? Zaki put down his mug of mead and just stared at his wife for a few seconds. Finally, grudgingly, because everything I have a conversation, darling. It flows in alphabetical order, just like I told you. I think the only way to stop it is not to talk at all. Couldn't you just be imagining this, says Kazaga patiently. It wouldn't be the first time you had an insane paranoid delusion. Remember when you thought the royal battle mage of Blackmarsh was hiding behind every tree with lewd intent on making you, a middle-aged, fat, balding tailor, into his personal sex slave? You don't need to be ashamed, but it's Sheogroth's way to make us all a little crazy sometimes. If you go to the healer, damn it, Kazaga snarled Zaki and stomped out. Damn it, Kazaga, snarled Zaki and stomped out, slamming the door behind him. He nearly collided with Sayasat, his neighbor. Excuse me, she said to Zaki's back. He clamped his hands over his ears as he stormed down the street. Turning the corner to his tailor shop, his first customer was waiting out front, smiling wildly. Zaki tried to keep his temper under control and took out his keys, returning the customer's smile. Fine day, said the young man. Gods, hollered Zaki, sending the young man flying with a well-placed punch and dashing away. As much as he hated to admit that Kazaga was right, it was evidently time once again for one of the healer's herbal cocktails. Tarsu's temple to Tarsu's temple to health, mental and physical, was several streets north. An impressive obelisk, Halqua, the chief herbalist, met him before he came in the hall. How are you today, Sazaki? Saf. I need to make an appointment with Tarsu, said Zaki in his calmest voice. Just one moment, let me see how his schedule looks, Halqua said, looking over the scroll. Is this an emergency? Kind of, said Zaki and slapped his head. Why couldn't he say yes or absolutely or sure? Let's see, Halqua, frowning. The best I can do is next Midas. Would that work for you? Midas, cried Zaki. I'll be complete psychotic by Midas. Isn't there anything earlier? He knew what the answer would be before she said it. There was no alternative. In a way, he had forced the response. If only he had kept the conversation going until Y, or V. Until V. No, said Halqua, I'm sorry. Do you want me to make the appointment? Zaki walked away, gritting his teeth. He wandered the streets, his head down to avoid conversation, until he looked up and discovered that he had walked all the way to the wharf. A sweet breeze was blowing along the water, and he took several deep breaths until he felt almost normal. When his temper cooled, he could think again. What if this alphabetical conversation wasn't a delusion at all? What if what he felt wasn't paranoia, but acute awareness? He knew it was the classic dilemma. Am I crazy, or is there really something weird going on? Across the road was a shop called Paradox, featuring a display of herbs, crystals, and vapors trapped in orbs. The sign in the window read, Mystic Consultations, sunrise to noon. It was worth a shot, though Zaki was dubious. The only people who generally come down to the wharf for healing were stupid adventurers who didn't know any better. Incense burned in copious billows of pink and gold, obscuring and then revealing the clutter within. Jik death masks glowered down from the walls. Smoking censers hung from the chains from the ceiling, and the floor was a maze of bookshelves. At a well-worn table in the back, a small man wearing a headdress was tabulating a young lady's purchases. Okay, said the man. Your total comes to 57 gold pieces. I threw in the restorative scale conditioner for free. Just remember the candle should be lit only after you invoke Goroflox the Unholy, and the mandrake root does best in a partial shade. The customer gave a quick shy smile to Zaki and left the store. Please help me, said Zaki. Every conversation I hear or get involved in seems to be arranged alphabetically. I don't know if I'm going insane or if there are some kind of bizarre forces at work. To be honest with you, I'm normally a skeptic when it comes to your type of business, but I'm at the end of my rope. Can you do anything to make this madness end? Quite a common problem, actually, said the man, patting Zaki on the arm. When you get to the end of the alphabet, do conversations then go to reverse alphabetical order or start at the beginning of the alphabet? Reverse alphabetical order, said Zaki, and then corrected himself. Damn it, I mean it starts from the beginning. All over again. I'm in agony. Can you call on the spirits and tell me, am I insane? Saruki, said the man with a reassuring smile. I don't have to. You're quite sane. Ahem. Thank you, said Zaki, frowning. By the way, my name is Zaki, not Saruki. Unusually close, eh? Said the man, patting Zaki on the back. My name's Octoplasm. Follow me, please. I think I have just what you need. Octoplasm led Zaki down a narrow corridor behind the desk. The two men pushed past dusty cabinets filled with strange creatures in liquid, past heaps of Neolithic stones, past stack after stack of moldering leather-bound books, into the dank heart of the store. There he picked up a small, squat, cylindrical drum and a book, and handed them to Zaki. Vampirism, Daedric possession, and Withershin therapy, said Zaki, squinting his eyes to read the book in the gloom. What in oblivion does this have to do with me? I am not a vampire. Look at this tan. And what's Withershin therapy? And how much will it cost me? Withershins, from the old Cyrillic Withershins, which means backwards, said Octoplasm in a serious tone. It's the art of reversing the direction of things in order to gain access to the spirit world and break curses, cure vampirism, and trigger all manners of apotropathic healing. You know the story about the guy who was told that slaughterfish live in hot water. So he said, well, let's boil them in cold water. Xenophus, said Zaki, instinctively, his brother having taken a rather esoteric upper-level course in Cyrillic philosophy as an elective in the Imperial College 31 years before. immediately wishing he hadn't. Washing? What the hell is that? Where the hell did that come from? And what do you do with the cylindrical thingy? Ectoplasm lit the candle and held the object over it so Zaki could see more clearly. All along the cylinder were narrow slits, and when Zaki peered within them, he saw a succession of old black and white drawings of a naked man leaping over boxes, one frame after the next. You spin it like so, said Octoplasm, slowly whirling the device clockwise. So the man within leapt over the boxes over and over again. It's called a zoetrope. Pretty neat, eh? Now you take it and start spinning it counterclockwise. And while you're doing it, read this incantation I've marked in the book. Zaki took the zoetrope and began spinning it counterclockwise over the candle, so the little naked man within seemed to bound backwards over the boxes. It took a little coordination and concentration to keep whirling at a steady pace, but gradually the man's awkward and jerky back jumps became more and more fluid until Zaki could no longer see the individual frames flipping. It looked just like a little humanoid hamster on an endless reverse treadmill. While he continued to spin the zoetrope with one hand, Zaki took the book in the other and read the underlined passage. Zoetrope counterspin, counterspin, counterspin. Pull my life from the rut that it's in. I invoke the goddess Boethia, Kennerith, and Drissus to invert my potentially metaphysic crisis. My potentially metaphysic crisis. My old life may have been rather pointless and plain, but I dislike the prospect of going insane. Make the pattern reverse by this Withershin. Zoetrope counterspin, counterspin, counterspin. As he chanted the spell, Zaki noticed that the little naked man in the zoetrope began to look more like himself. The mustache vanished, the hairline receded, the man's waistline expanded, and the buttocks sagged to the shape and texture of a half-inflated balloons. Scales approximating his own Argonian pattern appeared. The man began to trip as he bounded backwards over the boxes, taking bigger breaths and sweating. By the time Zaki reached the end of the incantation, his twin was clutching his chest and tumbling end over end over the boxes in a free fall. Octoplasm took the zoetrope and the book from Zaki's hand. Nothing seemed to have changed. No thunder had rumbled, no winged serpents had sprung out of Zaki's head, no fiery explosion. But Zaki felt that something was different. Good, different, normal. At the counter, when Zaki pulled out his satchel of gold pieces, Octoplasm merely shook his head. Our treatment radical such of effects term long, the what sure be can't we naturally charge no. No charge, naturally we can't be sure what the long-term effects of such radical treatment are. That's forward. It's actually backward. Feeling the first real relief he had felt in days, Zaki walked backward out of the shop and down the road to his shop. Walked backward. An overweight Argonian shopkeeper walked backward to his shop. Snowball thinks he might have more problems in alphabetical sentences. Snowball thinks The Daedric Lord of Crazy got him. And Snowball would not want to ever ask him for anything, even though Snowball got something from him. Oh, wait, Snowball left that back at home. Snowball doesn't have the Wabbajack right now. And on that note, I gotta get her better armor. Have a good day. Bye-bye.